Hello everyone and welcome back to Superboy Beyond, and we are returning to Season 4 today for another commentary. This is the season opener, A Change of Heart, which is an episode that introduced Bill Mumy as a character. I forget his name, something Puck, is it?
Tommy Puck.
Tommy Puck, who's like a mad scientist type character. You all know him, you know. If you're watching this, you've seen it before. But, you know, who's the name? What's the name of the other actor that's in this? The one who was in Lois and Clark. Michael Devar. You know, he was great in that episode of Lois and Clark where he was the rock musician with the wall of sound, as he put it. Lenny Stoke, that was it. And they have all the sound devices. I like that episode, you know. I always liked the idea that there was a villain that was using sound, because that would actually technically be another weakness for Superman with his hearing. You know, who was that villain that, you know, realised that Superman can't actually turn it off? We talked about it a few weeks. Was it Lex?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it a few weeks during Threesome, right? And yeah, so this is going to be a fun episode, I think. Maybe we need to watch Lois and Clark and watch another episode of that. Maybe we'll watch the pilot episode of Lois and Clark at some point as one of our Beyond commentaries. Who knows? But anyway, if this is your first time watching one of our YouTube commentaries, this is not like a typical YouTube reaction video. You're not going to see any actual clips from the show. I mean, you will, but it's like heavily filtered and it's purely there so you can keep in time.
Right,
you won't actually hear any... Yeah, right up there in the middle. And... yeah, you won't hear any actual audio from the episode. You will need your own copy of the show to watch alongside us. But saying that, we hope you all enjoy the show. Get ready. We will count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play. And as long as you hit play when we do, you should be in sync with us. So get ready. Season 4, Episode 1. 3, 2, 1, play. So yeah, interesting episode this. I would say that it's not as strong of a season opener as like Bride of Bizarro was, or even, you know, with this Ring IV kill. But yeah, it's still at least better than Jewel of Technical.
You know, the interesting part about this episode, there's a couple of behind the scenes things. This was originally planned as a Lex episode.
Because instead of Tommy Puck?
Yeah, if you look at Tommy Puck, he's got the gun mall with him, who kind of acts a little bit like Darla. And at the end of the episode, he gets a cure, and he gets an, what do they call it? It's that term that they use to expunge your record.
Right. Oh God, yeah, I can't think of the word now.
Yeah, but you know, it would have been perfect because, you know, the way Tommy Puck leaves it at the end, you know, that line says, "Well, I don't know what I'm going to do now." So he could go back to being a villain, or he could be heroic. But I guess they decided against that because it's Lex; he has to remain a villain.
Yeah.
The other part is, when they brought Bill Mumy on to play the new character of Tommy Puck, he had suggested his friend Miguel Ferrer to play Adam Varel.
He would have been good.
Yeah.
I like him. I've got to say as well, I love this scene, how you just had that really nice priest running around, like just walking around smiling at people, and now he's just like pushing prams into the street and punching people into the ocean. Like...
And now he's, you know, overindulging himself with the ice cream.
Hmm. And I do wonder if it was a purposeful decision as well to open this season with a daylight scene, because season 3 is definitely darker of the two. There's a lot more night stuff in season 3 than 4.
Yep.
I wonder if maybe they had some notes from the studio saying it's getting too dark. Superboy's not Batman. Come on, lighten it up a bit. It might just be that whoever was directing each episode, it was their choice or something. Who knows?
Mm. Of course, Lana walking in with the walk of shame, still wearing the same outfit from the night before.
Hmm. That's cool though. She's like the guy's name is Ernie again. Sometimes it's Eddie, sometimes it's Ernie. I don't think the writers ever really nailed down what it was supposed to be.
Yep.
Oh, and another David Nutter episode.
So you know it's definitely going to be directed well.
Yeah. Although, as we talked about a little while ago when we did a commentary on The Alien Solution, I don't think Superboy reacts quite strongly enough to something that happens later. Can't remember if that's in this episode or part 2, though. It's been a while.
A pardon. That was what the word was.
That's it. Yep, got a pardon. Yeah, you can kind of tell that this is supposed to be Lex and Darla, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, even Tommy Puck's dialogue is vaguely Lex-like. I wonder if all they did was change the names.
Mm.
And I wonder, that thing that they said about Lana being trapped with him for a week, I wonder if originally that was actually a reference to a specific story and they had to change it because it's no longer Lex.
Yeah.
But then, let's face it, they keep referring to stuff that we never actually saw in the show, like Superboy rescuing the bus full of kids and all of that, you know. So clearly they're having adventures between episodes. Which I always like to say is where the tie-in comic comes in.
Yes.
It's just the stories between stories. Yeah, it's a shame. I like Bill Mumy, but now that I know that this is supposed to be Lex and Darla, he does put a dampener on things a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially since, you know, his girlfriend character is nowhere near as good as Tracy Roberts was as Darla, you know.
Yeah.
It's like it's the Walmart Smart Value version of Darla, you know. It's the one you get for a third of the price. And that's, you know, I do feel bad saying that because I'm sure the actress was doing her best, but Darla had something special. Maybe I'll change my mind on this actress by the end of the episode, but Darla had something.
Yeah, Tracy Roberts was just we got to see the development of her over 3 seasons. You know, we get 2 episodes with this one actress, and I'm saying she's not doing a great job with what she's got, but you know, she didn't get the chance to, you know, move into the role and build with it and grow.
It's also just that last line that she had a moment ago where she was talking to I almost said talking to Lex, but when she had the gum in her mouth, she was saying the dialogue. As she was doing it, I could just hear how Tracy Roberts would have done it in my head, and it's just better, you know?
Yeah.
I think part of it's the accent, Part of it's that ridiculous wig that they used to stick on her head every time.
Yep.
I think the accent is part of it, though. I do think the accent is a big part of why Darla is so much fun. It's almost like the Harley Quinn effect.
Yeah.
Almost makes me wonder if Harley Quinn was partially based on Darla. It wouldn't surprise me. Tracy Roberts would have been an excellent Harley on a live-action Batman show, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And I like how in this moment here, you got Michael DeBarge such in the shadows. It's almost like they're foreshadowing the fact that he's not a nice guy. I kind of wonder, as much as I like him as Adam Varel, I kind of wonder what Miguel Ferrer would have done with this. Because he was known for playing such, he was known for playing bad guys and tough guys and heavy, I mean, that episode of Tales from the Crypt that he did with Terry Hatcher, of all people, where he was playing her boyfriend and he was beating the crap out of her. He was so sadistic in that.
Rest in peace, Miguel Ferreira.
Yeah.
Sad he was only 61.
Well, that's what happens when you get cancer.
Yeah, no. I've always liked him, to be honest. He was good in RoboCop as well. He only had a small part in RoboCop, but he was great.
Yeah. And one of the last things he ever did was a voice on the Teen Titans Judas Contract animated movie.
Yeah, I'm seeing it here that he played Deathstroke, so that's cool.
Yep.
He was good. He was in an episode of Psych as well that I enjoyed. Trying to remember if this is the actor that was in the bloody Alf movie. Yes, it is. He was in Project Alf. That was the first thing I saw him in when I was a kid. I was like, was he in the Alf movie? It's not a good movie. It's fucking terrible. He was pretty good in it. Although, granted, I was a child when I saw it, so maybe I'll watch it again and think he was phoning it in. But as a kid, I thought he was very good. But no, I do like Michael DeBar. Did I pronounce that right? DeBar?
Yeah. That's the way I've always pronounced it. So if I'm wrong, we're both wrong.
But he's good on screen. He's got like charisma going on. I will admit, I've only ever seen him in this and Lois and Clark. I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
MacGyver.
Never watched MacGyver.
He was MacGyver's. He was the Moriarty to MacGyver's Sherlock Holmes, Murdoch.
Interesting.
And he had a penchant for disguises.
It's funny you say that as well, because here he's playing a very rich man who's also got a sinister side, and he's clearly evil. Part of me thinks that Michael DeBar would have been a pretty good sort of post-Burn corporate Lex Luthor, He probably would have been pretty good in that role.
Yeah.
I doubt he would have shaved his head, but maybe they could have just pulled a Gene Hackman and put him in a different wig every episode.
Gotta say, the guy playing the mayor here is a little, he's hamming it up a little too much.
Yeah. Maybe he's gone a bit loopy from the... Oh, they're all doing it, though, aren't they? They're all hamming it up. That was a bloody good punch, though, that woman just threw.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, that the only one who's not affected is Clark.
Maybe his super senses are allowing him to bypass whatever it is. You'd think, though, if it's like subliminal messaging and stuff, that he'd actually be more susceptible with his enhanced senses.
Unless it's just the brain chemistry of a Kryptonian that this device just can't penetrate. And
probably a good thing too.
Did you see the guy who was playing the cop just now in the suit?
No, I missed it.
Same actor who played General Swan from.
Oh, really?
Superman.
Superman is, yeah. I liked him. I did think he struggled a little bit with delivering some of the technobabble, but that's something that most actors struggle with.
Yep.
It's why, why Rick Berman used to insist on actors that he auditioned for Star Trek shows. He insisted on giving them just tons of technobabble in their auditions because he's like, if you can get through this, you can deliver any dialogue I give you.
Yeah.
Probably smart, I imagine they probably do the same thing now. Oh, yeah, I recognise him now. Different haircut. It's probably what threw me off the last time, but...
Plus the fact that they dyed his hair in this.
It's still grey, isn't it?
No, he's got a full head of brown hair now.
Oh, it looked vaguely grey the last shot, so maybe when it's a close-up I'll see the difference. Nice dress that Lana's wearing in this, though.
Yeah.
I think often a lot of the fashion in Superboy looks very, very dated, but that dress, I could kind of imagine someone wearing that now, even.
Yep.
See, that's a scene that I imagine would have been different in the original version, because without the connection between Lex and Varel, that line wouldn't have made any sense. So it's well directed, though, this scene. I like the way they've done the lighting. And
well, again, it's David Nutter, so it's going to be really good.
Absolutely.
He has a flair for creating atmosphere.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even just that scene when he walked into the room and then you had that shot where the camera was just moving in on Bill Mumy. Like, just a really nice dramatic shot, Could it have been a little bit smoother? Maybe they could have got some tracking, like some tracks out or something and done like a really nice, smooth cinematic shot. But it's TV. They probably didn't have that much time. Yeah. They just stuck it on a steady cam and did it that way. Which, to be fair, I think if I was shooting the show, I probably would just do that myself because it would save so much time.
And money.
Yeah. I mean, tracking doesn't cost that much. It's just the time and the money, just paying people to lay the track out and stuff.
Yeah.
It was always easier when I was at uni making short films because I just set it up myself, so it didn't cost anything. Yep. Just borrow it for free from the equipment room.
And this is around the time when Bill Mumy was making Babylon 5, doing his role of Lanier.
So yeah, probably only a few years then before he appeared on Deep Space Nine as well. Because that was, I think, just after Babylon 5, wasn't it? Because he finished on one show and the only demand he had for being on DS9 is he didn't want to play an alien because he just dealt with putting on makeup every day for God knows how long. He didn't want to get typecast.
Yeah, I don't think he would have had a problem if they just asked him to play a Bajoran because it's only one small, tiny piece of prosthetic. It's just I don't think he wanted to play something, full on like another
like a Cardassian or something would have been a big undertaking. I wonder if Bill Mumy's on Twitter. I might have to reach out and say, would you be willing to talk about Superboy at some point?
I don't know if he's on Twitter. I know he's on Instagram.
I'll find him on there then. Worst thing that can happen is he says no or just doesn't respond, It happens, George Lazenby said no. We did reach out to him. Apparently he just doesn't do podcasts, so it's fair enough. It's a shame. I would have loved to have talked to George Lazenby, but what can you do?
Yeah.
I wonder if Britt Eklund will be any easier to get hold of. If we can't get Jarrell, we'll get Lara.
Yep. Yeah, the dynamic between the two of these is just Lex and Darla light.
Except the Darla's not got any personality that I can tell whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, if Tracy Roberts had been here, you definitely would have seen, Darla's, her penchant for being annoying.
I mean, is Darla annoying? I don't know. I think Darla, there's a slight charm to her annoyingness,
I'm not saying that she isn't charming with it, but, unless you've gotten to know her, at first glance, she is really annoying.
Let's face it, by the end of No Line Enemy, she's grown so much and she's taken Lex's shit for too long, and she leaves him at the end of that story and we don't see her again in the show. She had a lot of development. A lot more than you'd maybe expect.
Yeah, because remember, their relationship was very one-sided. When you look at it, I mean, when she first came along, he was just looking for somebody to do his errands. And she was looking for a paycheck, but over time she started to realize that she loves this guy.
And he's a psycho. Abusive relationships, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's going to ever happen.
Part about this scene that always drives me nuts is, if he really killed her, do you really think he'd be saying we got to get her to a hospital, to a doctor?
Yeah. Also, the fact that everybody knows Superboy doesn't kill people.
Yeah.
My problem with this scene also counts with the next episode as well. In this moment, I think Superboy is playing, Gerard is playing Superboy with enough, grief on his face. But in the next episode, when he actually goes to prison, he just looks kind of pissed off about the whole situation. He looks annoyed more than anything. And as we talked about when we did the Alien Solution, the way John reacted when Lana was just in a coma, she wasn't even dead. He reacted, he took it a lot harder. And I kind of wish we'd seen a little bit more of that. We will get into that next week when we actually do part 2 of this two-parter story. But yeah. Part 1, we should probably... Do you want to give this a score out of 10 now, or should we just score them both at the end of the second part?
Let's give this a score, because I would say as a season opener, it has a good hook to get you in.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. I love the idea of using subliminal messages to send the public crazy. Yeah. Presumably just to make money, but I don't know how he would make much money from that. Maybe we talked over when he mentioned what his motivation actually was. It's possible they did mention exactly what his motivation is.
They barely touched on it, but they touch on it a little bit more in part 2. I would say this is out of 10. This and remember, this is on the season 4 scale, not on the series scale. On the season 4 scale, I would say this is about a 7. Okay.
I was going to say 7 to 7.5, just purely because I quite like Bill Mumy. I like the way it's directed, but there's a whole bunch of missed opportunities. I don't think the I don't know. I don't think the relationship between Varel and Lana was established in any believable way for me. You know, it's just another of Lana's random boyfriend of the week type
Yeah,
thing.
the
Like
way
the karate instructor that she dated for a while that's supposed to be a college freshman like her, but he looked about 40.
yeah, and while I do say that Michael DeBar plays the character so well, the moments where the two of them are together and they're kind of making out and such, it seems a little. It almost seems like he's an abuser the way he's doing
Yeah.
it.
I think, ironically, like, if you're trying to establish some sort of romantic character like that, or at least even if you just only want to fool the audience for a short time, you need a little bit more chemistry between the actors than they had. You know, I don't think he was bad in the scene, like in the car at the beginning of the episode when he was talking to Lana. I don't think he was bad in that scene, but they weren't really playing it like lovers. They were playing it more like, yeah, like you say, an abusive spouse kind of thing, and it's
Yeah,
just really odd.
yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that's just how Michael Debord how he acts. You know, maybe that's just something that maybe if I was more familiar with his other work, I would be able to tell what's just his style and what's the character.
We ought to
Because
get him on
sometimes,
the show. We definitely ought to
yeah,
get him on.
it would be fun to get him on the show and maybe discuss the differences between when he shot for Lois and Clark and shot for Superboy. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Just ask about the differences between the production teams. That could be a really interesting discussion, I think. If anybody out there knows him,
Well, he is on Instagram.
He is on Instagram. Well, I guess we'll be reaching out to you on Instagram, Mr. DeBar. If he says no, he says no. All we can do is ask. Yep. Anyway, yeah, 7. I would maybe go 7.5, but I do think it's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Maybe the 2 episodes lumped together would be a 7.5, but just for part 1, I think you're right, this is more like a 7.
Yeah.
I think even 7.25 would be stretching it. It's still a good episode. It's a lot of fun, but as you say, as we always say, it is on the scale for this particular season. And season 4 has some extraordinarily good episodes.
Yeah, No Thine Enemy is probably 2 of the best.
Yeah, and To Be Human, also great. Rites of Passage shows us a little flashback to when Clark's ship arrived, which is lovely. And it ends basically, like, theoretically, right as he's going to become Superman. So that story has a lot going for it.
Yep.
Anytime Lex is on screen, No Line Enemy, like you say, what was the other Lex one that was right before it? Darla Goes Ballistic. Another fantastic episode. And since we've been talking about Darla, probably Darla's best episode because it's the one where she has the most to do. And I do know for a fact that from interviews I've heard with him, Sherman Howard did that on purpose because he felt like Darla didn't ever really get the amount of screen time she perhaps deserved. So, yeah, I really appreciate that. So, season 4 is just such a good season, even if it is full of clip shows.
Yeah. What we've got to do, we've got to, see if we can get Tracy Roberts to do a commentary with us on Darla Goes Ballistic.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And
Sherman Howard, if we can get him, maybe he'll do Mind Games, We've got to get him to do a commentary on one of his episodes. How fun would it be, though, if we managed to get them both at the same time for that episode for Darla Goes Ballistic? I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about this, though. When Lex and Superboy were trapped in that mine...
Where was Darla?
Why didn't she come and rescue them?
Maybe she was just
come with a Thermaton 14 blaster and just blasted a hole in the side of the mine.
Maybe she was just sitting in the car with the engine running.
She probably was ready for the getaway, and she's like, "Well, Lex told me not to leave the car, so I can't leave."
So she's just sitting there smoking,
probably
listening to the radio, flipping through the dials.
Yeah.
Theoretically, they're only in there for maybe an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah, they are running out of oxygen, though. You know,
Yeah.
It's been a while. Who knows? You know, maybe they just didn't think of it at the time. But I don't know. What was that play? The one based on a Shakespeare play, but it's based on two characters that were minor characters in Macbeth, and like the whole thing is about them. It's a comedy. You see the whole story from a different point of view.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
That's the one. That's the one. You know, maybe we could do a Darla episode that's just mind games, and you just find out why she couldn't come and help Lex. Maybe she got into her own trouble and she couldn't get away for whatever reason. Like, that could be an interesting plot line. Show different characters' point of view of old episodes.
Yeah.
Could be an interesting idea for a season 5 episode. Who knows? You know, maybe if you're watching and you enjoy our season 5, let us know if you actually think this would be a good episode, or if it would just, you know, it's a fun idea that perhaps wouldn't be great in execution. Maybe I'll release an episode and I'll say it's the season 5 episode on April 1st, and it will literally just be a shot of Darla sitting in a car smoking cigarettes, and I'll just have the video play for the full half hour. It's literally just one shot of her with a cigarette. That's what she did throughout the entirety of Mind Games. She's just sitting in the car smoking. That could be a fun little gag. Maybe I'll do that for April 1st. But anybody that watched this commentary is going to get it spoiled, but maybe I'll come up with a few fun ideas for that.
Yep.
Because let's face it, every single April I've said maybe we should do an April Fool's type thing. And we've forgotten every year so far. So I tell you what, when March comes, viewers, if you remember, leave us a comment saying don't forget April Fool's Day. We'll rely on you to remind us this year. Anyway, Thank you all so much for watching part 1 of A Change of Heart. And be sure to tune in again next week, where we will be doing a commentary on the conclusion. So we'll see you then. Bye.
Viacom.